In this session, we're exploring one of the most exciting and misunderstood paths to growing a business, buying and selling companies. Whether you dream of expanding through acquisition or want to prepare your own business for a future exit, this session will break down what makes a company valuable, what to look for in a deal, and how smart operators grow strategically. Led by certified business coach Kent Mortensen, who now consults business owners on buying and selling, and has bought and sold multiple companies. This is your blueprint.
All right, everybody, welcome to this session. Today, we're going to be talking about purchasing, acquiring, and selling businesses and companies. So I'm here with Rob and with Kent. My name's Chris Olson. I'm owner of Northwest Moss Removal out in the Seattle area, home service exterior cleaning and maintenance company. And I'm going to let Kent and Rob introduce themselves, but we have a pretty amazing wealth of background experience and knowledge here. So I'm excited to dig in, but Kent, Rob, I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves, tell the folks a little bit about who you are, your background, what you've done, and what your experience is with buying and selling companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I'm Robert Bednarz. I'm the founder and CEO of High Caliber Electric. My background along the lines of this subject is I've been a part of a couple of sales of a couple of companies already. And then we are currently doing some acquisitions of smaller companies. And we can get into that a little bit in this segment as well of how we're trying to find these companies and if we're just buying their phone number or if we're buying their staff. It might be an older guy that's trying to get out of the company. He doesn't want to run it anymore. And what we're doing in order to turn those companies around and absorb them into ours and scale and not just let those companies go out of business and just, most guys don't have a plan when they're closing these companies down. So we come in and we can give them a lot of opportunity. That'll help us, that'll help them, help everyone in our community. And then also we have a 5-year plan right now in order to make an exit. We're trying to get to 150 million, which we have a clear roadmap on how to get there. And then we'll be exiting the company.
Awesome. Kent, tell everybody about yourself.
150 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that's freaking insane.
Yeah, crazy.
150 million. I can't even, that's hard to fathom to have that goal starting out, coming out. So, and I guess the question comes up, when's a good time to buy and sell a business? Mm-hmm. How do you prepare for that? And we're just going to go over those questions and hopefully we'll get to that point. And we're going to glean a lot of information out of you because I've never actually sold to a private equity firm. I've tried 3 times and it didn't work for me. I'm too much about the employee, I think. And I've had partners within System Clean 3 times who have come in and now are employees. So buying in, selling in, and moving businesses around is kind of what I've done over the years. So serial entrepreneur, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know a little bit about you. So just so the audience knows, how many companies have you started total?
Tax-paying companies, it's right around 17.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy runs an empire and he's still a humble guy. So we're going to talk a little bit today, like I said, about buying companies, selling companies. I'm going to glean some awesome experience from both of these guys. Where I'd like to start at is let's have a conversation about what it looks like to figure out, like Kent was talking about, when is the right time to sell, and then we'll kind of dig into how to figure out all the details that go into getting your company ready to sell, deciding when the time is right, and kind of all the details and the minutia. But big picture wise, you're a home service company, you've been in business for however many years, and you're thinking about the plan to exit. What are some of the big things that you're thinking of to try to decide when that timing is going to be right? Are you just looking at dollars? Are you looking at size? Are you looking at margins? What are some of the things you're looking at?
So when you're trying to market towards private equity, there's some key factors that you need to be looking at. Number one is can the business run without the owner? Mm-hmm. Do you have systems and processes in place to where if you take yourself out of the business, is it going to fail, or are people going to be do they have to rely on you to call you 5 times a day? Mm-hmm. If you don't have that middle management and you can remove yourself from the business, you really don't have a business. It's not marketable. You can't really sell it. And then the right time to sell is when the multiples are the best for private equity. So there's, depending on your industry, there's multiples they put on EBITDA. And then obviously you want to maximize your EBITDA, make sure that your margins are right, you're charging right.
Yep.
And then that you're ready to sell. So make sure, and you know what you want. You can go into whether you want to take some chips off the table, so you don't have to sell 100% of the business. You can sell a portion of it and partner and stay on as a CEO or whatever you want to do. Or you can say, I'm done, sell the full company. So there's a lot of different options that you could do when you go partner with private equity. But as far as the right time, you want to obviously when the market's the best and the multiples are the best.
Yeah. So just for everybody listening, I think everybody that's probably on this track of the seminar today is going to know what EBITDA means. But just for the folks listening that might not know, talk to me about like when you're looking at those multiples for how to look at the overall health of the company. A lot of guys know what their gross margins are, net margins are, et cetera. But what does EBITDA mean?
So EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxation, amortization. So basically your true profit.
Yep.
There's a lot of ways you can like manipulate profit, but EBITDA is what private equity holds true, and that's what they're truly looking at.
Yeah.
And they're going to come in and they're going to turn the business upside down. So don't try to fluff your numbers or anything. Like it's easy to turn off marketing at the end last year or tweak some things in order to look like you're making a lot more than you have. But they're going to do a thing called quality earnings, where they come in and they're going to get in your stock drawer, if you will. And they're going to really start looking at your financials and make sure everything is what it says. I mean, these are big time investment bankers, so they know what they're doing. And they send teams of people in to check out and make sure that the company is what it says it is.
Yeah.
And if you're focusing on 150 million, they're going to want to know how to do it right. So
Right.
You're not selling it to your kid. You're not doing a succession plan. You're not selling it to one of your employees. You're doing the pie in the sky. Which, if you've done it before, that's fantastic. I think most businesses probably sell to the neighbor.
Yeah.
The guy that leaned his house.
I imagine a lot of business owners are, when they think of selling their company, they think of something like what I did, where I had worked for the company I now own through high school and college. I had left and started my own company. I was doing both the same business industry, exterior cleaning and maintenance, and I was running a general contracting company. And a few years after I left, probably 4 or 5 years, the owners called me and they said, hey, we're tired of paying taxes. We're tired of dealing with the state. We're tired of dealing with permits. We're going to retire. Write us a check, or we're just going to close the doors and throw it all in the trash and move to Arizona and retire on a golf course.
Yeah.
And gave me a screaming deal because they didn't want to deal with the hassle of doing all the things you have to do to get a business ready to sell to somebody like private equity or an investment buyer. And it's a totally different ballgame to approach a sale to an employee or a sale to a family member or a sale to a guy you find on Craigslist as compared to preparing for a true investment sale or private equity sale.
Yeah.
So back to that question. When's the right time? When's the right time to sell?
When you're ready. When you think you're ready.
It depends. So. The answer is it depends.
Yeah.
So
there's no right answer.
Yeah, there's really no right answer. And so everybody talks about when is the perfect time, when is the perfect time, when is the perfect time. It depends.
Yep.
Like sometimes it's when somebody's going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's a death. Sometimes it's succession planning. Sometimes it's illness. Sometimes it's like you said, I'm just sick and tired of it. I've seen so many businesses that have come and we've done some consulting work and they're like, hey, we want to sell the business to you. We go in and look at the books and we're like, you were bankrupt. Like you were literally bankrupt 2 years ago. How did you do this? And they're like, well, we just kept mortgaging our home. We kept doing this. We kept doing. So when was the right time for them to sell?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So now you're just buying assets, and so it's really important. So when you're talking about buying and selling businesses, the number one thing I think you should have, in my mind, is curiosity. So can he really create a $150 million a year business? Like is that replicatable?
Yep.
Some people can do it. Some people are going to sell multiple smaller businesses. We have a teledata cabling company that's on track to do about 45 million. That doesn't happen every day. Sometimes it happens over a long time. And so curiosity is when you start looking at these things. And so when is the time to prepare then to start selling a business?
Well, and it's interesting when you're talking about the right time to sell or the right time to buy, there's a lot of interesting kind of details that go into it. Like a good example is you might run a company that's doing $3, $4, $5, $10 million. And if you buy a company that's maybe at 1 or 2 because they haven't gotten past that bottleneck that a lot of contractors hit at that $1 million-ish mark, that you have to get through to get from $1 million to $5 million. And you might be able to come in and buy that company if it's the right time to sell for the owner and take what they have and turn it into a $5 million company.
Yeah.
It could be a great investment for you because you have the knowledge and experience to do that they didn't.
Absolutely.
And it might be the right time to sell for them because, like what Kent said, because of a death or a divorce, they're ready to retire or whatever it may be. But it has to be the right time for them to sell and the right time for you to buy, or vice versa.
So back to the question though, when do you start preparing to sell?
I would say you need to start right away.
Yeah. So he's going in
5 years ago,
starting a business as a founder, or founder?
Founder.
As the founding member, and he's already preparing to sell.
Yeah. So we have clarity. We know where we need to be at 1 year. We know where we need to be at 2 year, year 3, year 4. We know how many techs we need to hire. We know how many trucks we need to get on the road. We know what markets we need to get into. So we have all these in place, and we have a very clear picture of how we get there, and it's achievable. We think 150 million is on the low end. We think that we can go 200, 250 million. But yeah,
that's freaking wild.
And then also, as like you were saying, with these companies that are doing stuck at the bottleneck at that 1-2 million, maybe that operator doesn't have the right systems in place. So you don't have to do 100% sale. If you want to get someone else in that maybe can help you with systems and processes and grow that, and you have ambitions to grow that company, ask for help. It's nothing wrong with asking for help and maybe giving up a portion of equity if you don't have the money in order to scale the business. Give up some equity. If you're very passionate about the business, get someone in there that'll help you in order to take some equity, scale that business, and then you both make out at the end when you sell.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to talk about systems a little bit. It's one of the things I really wanted to talk about during this, because if I was going to pick the one thing that really you have to do to get from $1 million to $5 million, $5 million to $20 million, $20 million to $50 million, it's usually on some level a system issue.
Absolutely.
Right. So what you did is just tied him together.
Yeah.
So when you said we need systems, and he says we need to get rid of the owner, that is the number one thing. When you're selling a company, the only way to sell a company is to get rid of you.
Yep.
If you're not out of the business, it doesn't matter if you're $50,000.
Yeah.
If you're running the business and you're the reason why the customer calls you, there's no business.
If you're putting out all the fires, you're the one that every problem comes to you, you're pounding your chest, I run this business.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want that.
Yeah, that's why we're using House Call Pro or any automation, because just being able to automate the business so that it can run on its own, you've got to be able to do that. And so dropping back into the systems, that's what it is. And that whole reason is so that you can recreate the product without you, or without me, or without you.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is, something I tell people I work with a lot doing coaching and consulting is, it's kind of a hard pill to swallow for a lot of owners, but there's two parts to it. One is, if the business relies on you to the point where you can't take a 2-week vacation without the company burning down while you're gone, I hate to break it to you, but you're self-employed with extra steps.
Exactly.
You don't really have a business. You have a job that you pay a lot of money to have.
Yeah.
And then the second part to it is that if you don't have systems in place, like on paper, that are actually formalized and set in stone, the truth is that you do have systems, but you don't have any control over them.
Yeah.
Because the system you have in place is that you're winging it, and it happens the way it happens. And that system that exists, whether you acknowledge it or not, may or may not be what the company actually needs.
Absolutely.
A great example is, you might have no process at all for how you intake clients. When your phone rings, it's you that answers the phone. You've got 37 unread text messages. You got 50 unread emails. You got 20 missed calls. So you technically have a system for client intake. Your system just kind of sucks.
And it's not scalable.
And it's not scalable.
Yeah.
Until you have a system where you say every phone call that comes in is answered by this person. If they don't pick up the phone, it goes to this person. If they don't pick up the phone, it goes to voicemail. All voicemails are responded to in 12 hours or by the close of business. Like you have to have those systems on paper.
Yeah.
Because if you don't explicitly tell both yourself and the people that work for you what the expectation is by building that system out, your system is just whatever it exists. And it may or may not be good. It could be fine. It could be terrible. I mean, you do meet guys that run $3 to $5 million a year companies that are basically winging it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And
I mean,
somehow
I've
they've
seen 10,
stayed in business.
I've seen $10, $15 million company run like
Yeah,
that. So.
but then you also meet guys that are running a $500,000 company that are on the verge of bankruptcy every year.
Yeah.
And it's because the systems aren't consistent.
Yeah.
And
it's very important.
And when we're talking about getting a company ready to sell, like we've talked about, an investor or a buyer has to be able to see, what if I'm going to buy this company and it makes X number of dollars in profit, does that profit go away if the owner's not there or if these key employees aren't there? Because even to the point, once the owner's removed, if only one employee does everything, it's the same problem.
Yeah, key man.
Yeah, you still have a key man problem.
So if we slow it down, and we bring it down to a micro level, is it possible to sell a business that has just the owner?
It's possible. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
It depends on the industry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the industry.
So tech businesses sell.
Yeah.
My little brothers, they bought up 2,500 websites in the early 90s. So is that business sellable?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yep.
One
Millions.
of my partners, Trent, he started with those toothbrush company. And it's just him and his brother, buying toothbrushes from China, reselling them.
No way.
And they scaled it to like 3 million.
I love it.
So.
Well, and I'll give you another example. I have a really good friend of mine that I knew growing up who he made high-end custom furniture, and it was just him in a 3,000 square foot shop on his property, and he was doing millions a year in revenue, and he was the only employee. He owned and operated the company. He had a 1 to 3 year wait list for production. And he ended up selling the company for a few $1 million to another solo operator who took over for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were never an employee. They never worked with him. They just had a similar skill set. And instead of trying to start what he started from scratch, they just wanted to write a check and take over.
Yeah.
But that's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
You're not really going to see something like that in a plumbing company or an electrical company.
And you're not going to
or
get
an HVAC
multiples
company.
on your company. You're
No.
not going to get a huge payday.
No, because even if you're an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC technician, you've got a van, a truck, and a business name, and you're doing $1 million a year, making $200,000 or $300,000 in profit. You really just have a really good job.
Yeah.
You don't really have a business, and it's not to downplay the work you've put into doing that, but it's not systemizable, it's not scalable, and it's not multipliable for an investor to come in and buy it.
Yeah. I think it's important to identify the difference from selling to the neighbor or the local competition in the neighborhood or private equity. Private equity is going to be life-changing money. It's going to change the generational wealth of some people depending on the EBITDA. But when you sell to the guy next door, you guys got to structure that deal to whatever you feel.
So you're already basing it on what is this equity firm or group?
Yeah.
What are they going to buy it as? But most people who are probably watching through House Call Pro, they're the small guy. They're all of the succession planning guys. They're the dad that can't stop fighting with his kid, and he wants to figure out, how do I sell this to my son and still be able to retire without moving into his freaking back bedroom?
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
And not just that, but I would say even a step past that. You think about that guy that's run a company for 20 years, wants his kids to take over, but he wants to hand his kids a business, not a job that's going to cause their hair to turn gray just like his did.
Right.
They want to set the company up for success so that when they do turn over the reins, either A, worst case scenario, they don't run the company into the ground 6 months later and end up bankrupt, or B, that they're not just as stressed and chaotic as he was for the last 20 years. Because there's a lot of guys out there that run successful companies, but the company relies on them being able to answer the phone 24/7, relies on them not being able to take a vacation, relies on them being the one that micromanages and supervises all of the younger guys because they don't really have those systems and people in place for the business to run without them.
So I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. So who is the most important person in the business?
It's a loaded question.
This is a loaded question.
It's hard
loaded.
to say.
I feel like it's also a trick question.
The operator is the most important. It has to be you have to be a good operator.
Okay.
You have to be a visionary.
So if you're going to sell the business, who's the most important person in the business?
The owner.
But we want to get rid of the owner.
If you're going, there's not.
So
one,
who's the most important?
It's the systems and processes that are most important.
Yeah, it's really not one individual, but in the service industry,
The
you
middle
are
management.
selling labor.
Yeah.
For the most part, we're selling labor. There might be some materials attached, things like that, but we're selling labor. So I think that requires some curiosity as we're making decisions in our lives. What do our employees need? What are we giving them? What is the buyer coming in looking at? Private equity firms are just munching up stuff.
Yep.
They're looking at EBITDA. They're buying for different reasons. Lifestyle businesses are being bought all of the time. What if they just want to move into the mountains? And those little businesses where they just close them up, you can sell them. If you automate first, you can sell them.
Yep.
And you've got these 6 guys that you've offered the business to them. Every one of them, they don't want to do it. They just cannot wrap their head around the fact that they need to buy this business. And so having a little empathy, recognizing that the people that work with you are going to probably go along with that business. It's not just multipliers. It's not just the equipment or the trucks or whatever. You're selling a process, a vision. And one of the things that I think of a lot is we don't really have, I don't call it a plan. Because entrepreneurs, you have visions, like you have, how are we going to make this work? You have all these dreams and you're like, how do I do this? And you're already starting with the end at the beginning.
Yeah.
And most guys, they started out as a painter.
Yeah. Well, I did that too.
Yeah, you've done it, but you've already done one.
Yeah.
Why is
so
it
I learned
easier?
from
Why is it easier to do it again?
Because now I know I've learned from my failures, and I've lost lots of money, and that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
We've done it the wrong way before. We still made it, but it was a lot more effort. It was a lot more bootstrapping.
Yeah.
It was a lot more late nights. A lot more, sitting in your truck, shaking.
Yeah. So why do you think I failed selling to 2 partners at System Clean?
Probably a mismatch of values or a mismatch of vision.
Yeah, they were younger. I thought, I can offload this business that you write 24/7 on the side of the truck. I didn't recognize how important time was to them. I didn't have enough curiosity to go, why would they want to buy this business? They thought because I was driving a nice truck or cruising around in the Audi or whatever, that's what they wanted. And so it's not usually like you're saying private equity firm, but who is that person? And that really matters, because when you start to develop a sales program of how you're going to transition the business, who the business is going to really matters. So if you're going to develop it for your kids and you don't want them to work 90 hours a week, and my generation just kind of was like, that's what we do. Yeah. And really that's unhealthy. It's not a good way to do it. The automation, I was blown away when we took it from paper and we started to that. Like, we were before Google. Literally, they were searching us before they were searching Google for us. Yeah. And so that kind of progression and watching how businesses change, and we're now more about money instead of like, I just want to take care of my kids. There's a lot of guys out there, I'm sure, that all they want to do is they just want to pay for a family trip. They just want to go out and they're like, how do I get away from this business long enough to be able to do it? And that's where these automations have made it. Actually, service businesses were not even sellable.
No, at all. That's
10 years ago, you could not sell a service business. It was like impossible. Every time I tried to sell, it was the equipment and blue sky. They called it blue sky.
And your phone number.
And your freaking phone number. That was it. And so I would go, hey, I want to sell my business, is doing $3 million. They go, I'll give you a 0.2.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Yeah, because I got this old crappy truck, and now I'm not going to have to work so many hours. And that's how we sold service businesses, literally. And now we're the next exciting thing. Yeah. But it's not really because and so all the fragmentation that's within the world with service businesses is being tightened up. Yeah. And that's how we're selling them. And so if you don't have these automations, really, so the most important person to get out of the business is the owner.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's important to realize that if you're in this industry, be grateful for it. Don't just understand that you're in a great position and take it seriously. Because it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. Because right now with the multiples and everyone wants to get in our business, like you were just saying, it's kind of like the .com era. It's like everyone wants to get into this business because AI right now is starting to replace things. It seems
everybody wants to be in service, and it's because there's businesses out there that have no materials. If they can be efficient, they'll have 60% profit. With the owner in place. But it's like, well, wait a minute, that's not really profit because you got to pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, as a coach, I'm looking at people's P&Ls. It's like, you don't know how to read a P&L.
Yeah.
And they literally do not, but they're amazing craftsmen. They can do things that most people can do.
And one thing I'd like to hit home on is once you set your business up for like, you're thinking about it as a sellable asset, you start setting it up, systems and process. You start thinking about business differently. So it just makes everything run smoother too, because now you're in a different mindset as an owner. You're not thinking about how many fires you can put out, who's going to call you, whatever. You're setting it up as an asset. You're looking at it in a different perspective.
Well, and
that helps everyone.
There's a really interesting thing there that a mentor of mine told me many years ago, which basically, even if you don't ever intend on selling, thinking about your company as an asset that you'd like to sell someday will make your company run smoother, more efficient, more profitably, even if you never sell.
Yeah.
Because if you think about your company and in your head it goes from a job to an enterprise that you can then someday sell,
absolutely,
it forces you to think about it in a way that's analytical, data-driven, system-driven, and sets you up for really good success.
Yeah.
Because if you set yourself up with those systems and processes, procedures, and you structure and build out your team in a way, even if you don't sell, it'll mean that you can take a vacation. You can spend a month going to visit your college-age kids in college. You can go out of the country and go spend a quarter working from a beach in Bali somewhere. You can do a lot of those things that when you're running a company every day where you're involved in every part of it, it forces you to be involved in every part of it, and you can't just take a break from it.
Yeah, you got to let go, right?
Yeah, it's easy to get burned out as well. Business becomes fun at some point. When you hit like 20, 30 million and you have all these systems and processes in place, now you can afford to throw parties for your employees. You're buying the best, you're getting the best equipment for your employees. You're getting them the best trucks. It becomes fun. You're not constantly putting out fires, and business becomes like an actual a fun thing. So
let's go and party, baby.
Yeah, we do love our employee parties.
I think you're totally right. Is that right? What I heard, tell me if I'm right.
Yep.
Buy your business back. Buy your business back from yourself first.
Yep.
That's how you prepare. So
subconsciously.
Subconsciously, you're like, would I buy this freaking money suck and time suck from anyone? It has value. Automations are there now. We are running businesses now. And even the guys that don't know how to run businesses, they're taking House Call Pro, they're plugging it in, they're doing freaking stuff that they could have never done. Like, they can still be the painter, they can still be the trim carpenter, and they can take the automations and they can actually run a business. They can look at their key performance indicators, they can do all this stuff, and that's how you prepare to sell a business. And you had it exactly right, I think, is that get rid of the owner. You usually get, 18 months? Has to look really, really good. If you're like starting to say 18 months to 3
there's like
years.
a trailing 12 months they look at, but they'll go back.
I was going to say, I've heard of people going through acquisitions where they actually went back 36 months.
Yeah, they will.
They look a lot harder.
They're looking at that. If
months.
that trailing 12 months is really strong, that's what they're basing their multiple off of.
So you have to know your business. Before you sell your business, you have to know your business. You have to know your customer. You should have an exit strategy coming in. That's rare, actually. Most people don't start businesses with exit strategies. You need it.
Yeah.
And so
a conversation
now's the time to start it. So I'm going to circle back on it. So 150 million. You want to do that in how many years?
5 years.
5 years. So just the labor on that, it's like, I feel like I'm going balder thinking about it.
If you don't stress about your goals, they're not big enough. So.
So I think it's fantastic. But we have talked a lot about selling your business, buying your business back. But what about buying businesses? What about acquiring some other businesses within other markets? How do you do that as a footprint or a first step? Because I'm sure that you'll do that.
Yeah.
I would think that you're going to go in and get some of the smaller businesses like we've done, kind of ate up our competitors, and because it's like, hey, they're ready to be out, or we battled it out on price long enough, and I love competition. But at some point, like,
one of the strategies we're using right now is we're going to the local suppliers, Ferguson or City Electric Supply, the suppliers that supply HVAC, plumbing, and electrical companies, and we're talking to the people at the desk and the upper management there, and we're asking them to give us a list of all the companies that are more than 90 days late on their payment. And then we're getting
that's brilliant.
And then we're going to get a hold of them, and then we're going to offer the owner.
Are they going to get a?
Well, it benefits everyone.
You told who?
No, because it helps them. I mean, we're not going in there like, oh, we're trying to take advantage of you. You know, you're late on your payment. You might be struggling. We can help you, whether this is a good operator or not. He might be a really good operator. He's just struggling on certain things. We can help come in and partner with them. We don't have to buy the whole business. Just help him take some chips off the table and help him grow this business, or he's just going to lose it.
Yeah, because a lot of times, why are they failing? They're undercapitalized. They're undercapitalized.
Undercapitalized, or they're not priced right. A lot of times they're not charging enough. They don't know how to hire. They don't know how to brand. They don't know how to market. So these are usually older.
So what do you offer?
We offer a partnership, or we just buy them outright. So we can partner with them and say, hey, we're going to come in. We're going to take 70% of the company, or else it's just going to go out of business. So
okay, so because I've had private equity firms come in, and I'm like, you freaking predators.
Yeah.
Like really?
Right.
Like, how do you do that? Because you're not a private equity firm.
No.
And so how do you consider the owner-operator, and how do they gain trust? Because you got to have some empathy.
Of course. I sit down with them and say, hey, man, you're look at your competitor. I mean, do you know that you have something here that's worth money?
Yeah.
Most of them don't know. Most of these guys are just like, I mean, when I stop plumbing, that's it. You know, hopefully I make enough money to support me for the rest of my life. Yeah. They don't know they have an asset that they can build, and then they can bring their family in or whatever.
You're saving somebody's retirement, believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've gone in and talked to guys that were just literally going to close the doors. I'm like, just let me buy your equipment and your number, and I'll give you $10,000. Like, what?
And we can offer them a position to come, because obviously they have some type of knowledge. They have customer service. They're in business, so they might be really good with customers. They don't have every skill set that they need, which I don't. You don't. He doesn't.
So can you buy a business without money?
Yes.
Yeah, you buy it with trust. Most of the time, especially small businesses. So if you were going to go out and, because you want to grow, wouldn't it be great to acquire a business that has 7 because your area that you're saying is just like your biggest struggle is employees. What if you have a guy that has 7 really solid employees? Why not go in there and try to partner or acquire their business? Maybe
that's exactly what
out of their mind and tired.
Yeah, well, and we actually have 3 different companies right now that we're actively in talks with, that currently we subcontract them, and they are owner operators. So we work in exterior cleaning, so pressure washing, window cleaning, roof and gutter cleaning. I have 3 different owner operators that we work with. They do jobs for us when they're a little bit shorter on work, or in the slower seasons, things like that. But I mean, there's always on the top of my mind is, at some point, if these guys decide they don't want to continue being an owner, I would happily talk to them about acquiring them, buying the business, keeping them on as a manager or a technician, like level employee, depending on what they want.
And like you're saying, we're not coming in as a predator. We're coming in as a partner. We're coming in
so
as someone who's been there. We've been in the truck.
Yeah. So what I would say about that big picture is, we've talked about all these different things. We've talked about the owner being removed from the company. We've talked about systems being in place that allow that to happen. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of tools available that when you sit down and you say, okay, how does our client intake process work? How does our estimate and proposal system work? How does our productivity and production system work? How does our employee and customer management system look? How do we follow up with customers both after estimates, after jobs, and on an ongoing basis? How do we market and retarget and stay top of mind with clients? How do we generate reviews? All these things that have to happen, that a lot of owner operators are doing everything themselves manually. And one of the things I tell people all the time is, like, when I first bought the company I have now, the owner for 20 plus years had done everything herself on the office side. She had never worked out in the field. Her husband had done some field work, and then she'd had employees. But she ran the office of the company for 20 plus years out of spiral bound notebooks, legal pads, and a Dell desktop computer with QuickBooks Online.
And you're able to
for 20 plus years.
Yeah, and you're able to do it now as a fireman. So you're a freaking firefighter. This guy's saving the world, saving lives. He's told me stories that, just crazy stuff. But you can do it because, and you use House Call Pro, right?
Once those systems are in place, there's so many tools available. House Call Pro is one of the big tools we use, obviously. There's a ton of different features in there that allow you to automate and systematize a lot of your processes. You talk about leveraging AI, like using a CSR AI to pick up phone calls if you don't make them. You talk about having automations and follow-ups like Pipeline, for example, for following up on leads and estimates. You talk about automatically requesting a review after every job instead of having to manually text clients.
All on House Call Pro.
Yeah, and you talk about having a system like House Call where all that's in one place.
Yeah.
Your technicians can access it easily. Your office staff can access it easily. You can look it up on a desktop, an iPad, a phone, and everything's all there. And what it allows you to do as the owner is you can create systems and procedures that, like we said earlier, if you don't have a system written down.
And most guys, this is how they run this is how their accounting works. They look at their bank account. All right, I got money in there. I can make payroll this week. That's not how you should be running your business.
Don't do it.
That's not scalable. If you're using House Call Pro and all the systems in there, you could get proper reporting to scale your company and make the right decisions.
Yeah.
And you can look at a P&L like you were saying.
Well,
and this is where we can turn this on and then, so when you take care of the company and you run it right, you can take care of the customer, which can take care of employees.
Yes.
So you say you care about the employees. When you take care of the company first and you make it clear to the employee what your vision is and you get them to buy in on this vision, everyone wins.
It's okay to sell it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've sold businesses and employees are happy.
Yeah.
Like, we're so
And
happy
it can
that
change
you're
their lives.
believing.
And if you do it right, it'll change some of the core employees' lives for the rest of
it'll
their
change lives.
Well, I think it's about time we wrap up. We've talked about a lot here. We've covered a lot. We've talked about a lot of different aspects of both buying and selling companies. And we've gone on some side tangents, but I think they were good. And at the end of the day, I'd really love to leave you guys with a couple of thoughts. The first one is whether you're a brand new service company owner that is just starting out and selling your company hasn't even crossed your mind, buying out competitors hasn't even crossed your mind, start thinking about your business as an entity and an asset that you might want to someday sell. Even if you, at the moment, you have zero desire to do that, you can't imagine ever not having your company, thinking about it that way can change the trajectory of your company and help you see your business as a business instead of what is really a job that you get paid to be at every day.
Yeah.
The other thing is if you are on the track to sell, looking at it from that perspective, the best time to start was 3 years ago. The next best time is today.
Yep.
So if you're starting to realize that, hey, I'm 12, 24, 36 months, 5 years away from selling, start thinking about those things now. Clean up your books, really understand your numbers, make sure your systems are dialed in and in place, and start talking to other people in your industry that have bought and sold companies. Start figuring out exactly how you want to look at it. Depending on the industry, there's things that matter more than others. Some service businesses, recurring revenue is super important. Some businesses, it's less important. Some businesses, your bottom line is the most important thing. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get what you want for your company if you're selling somebody a job.
Yep.
You have to be selling somebody a systematized, efficient, money-making machine that is reproducibly, consistently profitable. And if that's not what your company looks like today, sit down and make a plan of how to structure and systematize things so that that can happen eventually.
Yep.
Even if it's not tomorrow, even if it's a 6-month, year, 2-year process to build those systems and build those procedures out.
Yep.
Thinking about it that way, whether you plan on selling or not, will change your life and change the trajectory of your company.
Yeah. Start running your business. Start championing your people.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Just
it might
like
sound like a
House Call.
lot. It's a lot to take in. Like, oh, I don't have any system in place. He's talking about all these different.
Start
with one.
Yep.
Yeah, start with one.
The one that's going to generate the most revenue. So think about your business, lay it out real quick.
Yeah.
Which one's going to generate the most revenue, and move the needle today? What's going to move the needle the most?
So
and
buy it.
Just
Yeah.
put that in place.
Look at all the
Sell
problems that cost you the most money and build a system to fix that so they're not costing you money anymore.
Yeah.
If you're losing customers because you're not calling people back, make
Yeah.
a system for intaking and taking in clients.
Yeah.
If you're forgetting to invoice people, set up an accounts receivable and accounts payable system.
Yep.
If you don't know your numbers, hire a good accountant
If you're
and
not
figure
closing
out your
jobs,
numbers. If you're not closing jobs,
use
take
the
a look at your sales
options.
process.
Yeah,
Use
that
the
means
proposal tool.
we automate it, then we can buy it.
Yep.
We can sell it. You can even go to your neighbor. I automated a business and then I bought the business.
Yep.
So let's champion this industry. I mean, just across the board. Like I'm excited to be in a group with these guys. So
Absolutely.
thanks, House Call Pro.
If you want to dive deeper into financial tools, valuations, or system setups that support buying or selling a business, make your way to the breakout rooms.